welcome to A Dark Tale. So, today, as usual, we have a couple of ghost stories for you all. If you all don't know who we are A Dark Tale, where people send in submissions of their story. Then I tell you guys the story lah. Yeah, so today we got a couple of ghost stories for you guys. So if you guys are here, let me know if there's any ghost stories that you would like to hear from us. Okay, so as usual, we have I think about 3 to 4 ghost stories lah for you all. So if you guys are ready, we can start the ghost story from the first, second, third. I think we got 4 ghost stories. So different categories, different kind of themes of ghost stories today lah. So today we don't have just one theme of ghost stories, but we have a mix of ghost stories today. So everyone, we are doing live, and this will be up on YouTube as well. So if you guys are here, thanks for watching the live, and we will start with our first ghost story. So if you guys got any ghost stories of your own, please send us a DM on TikTok, which is A Dark Tale, and then just submit us in the DMs, and then we will tell your ghost stories lah. So what I like to do is when I hear ghost stories is I like to tell the ghost stories as how you will be in the ghost story. Yeah, so basically, like, if you tell me the story, I'll add in dialogues and everything, add in some sound effects so that the ghost stories will come to life. So basically, A Dark Tale is where ghost stories will come to light. Yeah, so without further ado, today we have a couple of ghost stories. So let me go and search up some ghost stories that we have today. Okay, so one of the ghost stories that we have today is actually from a Reddit post lah, which I thought was quite interesting. And it was a Reddit post that I saw long ago lah, and I'm not sure who is the one that told this story, so I'm sorry if I shared your ghost story, but then since it was on Reddit and everyone can read it as well, then I hope you don't mind if I read it lah. But if you don't like it, we'll take it down, of course. So we will start with the first ghost story. So okay, basically what I do is when I receive any ghost story, right, I'll create an AI version of it, which brings your ghost stories to vision. So if let's say you're telling a ghost story to people, and people will not know, cannot visualize. So some people can't visualize ghost stories, but I want to bring that ghost story to light. So if let's say someone couldn't visualize the ghost story, right, let's say you saw something, you saw a black shadow or saw something, right, they can't visualize it. And I'm here to use AI to bring it to life. And I'll try to make it as accurate as possible, so that when you see the video or the pictures, right, if you guys want to see the pictures, go to my TikTok page, and then you can see the different kind of AI photos that I have posted and the stories behind it lah. But those photos, right, the stories is in short form, because obviously I can't make the stories very long. I only can make the stories summarize the stories, because there's only like 6-7 photos. But then on the live, which is today, every Wednesday night I will do the live, this is where I tell the whole story of it. Yeah, so meaning to say that I will go into description of what happened. Yeah, so anyway, we have our first story. So one of the first stories, the most recent post that I did on TikTok was the AI story where, sorry, not the AI story, but then the AI picture where the mother is bringing a baby back home lah. So without further ado, this is the full story, and I can't wait to share with you guys. So let's start with our first story today, which is from the video. So after you hear this story, if you want to watch the video, please go to my page, and then you can see the full video. Okay, so this is the first story. I'm a single mother, and it's my first time being a mother. It's been hard for me since it's my first child, so juggling work and having a newborn has been super tough, but I've been managing. During my pregnancy and after birth, there have been a lot of advices on superstitions or pantang, as they call it. Some of it is like you can't go out at night, cannot sleep near the window, cannot bring the baby out for a month, and many more lah. So basically, there has been a lot of pantang. If you have been your first time parents, you will know lah. If you are different races have different kind of pantang, but basically everyone have their own superstitions. Okay, so basically, going back to the story, you cannot sleep near a window, you cannot bring the baby out for 1 month, and many more lah. So trust me, the list was super long. But not having a permanent job, I didn't get much benefits and had to start working earlier than the end of my maternity leave. So during that time, I thankfully found a babysitter who could look after my baby while I went to work, and my routine is usually I'll fetch my baby around 8 plus PM and walk my way back home. And since the babysitter stayed 1 street away, it would take some time. One day, as per my routine, after ending work, I fetched my child, but this time I took a shortcut through the park. But usually I would walk outside the perimeter, but since I wanted to reach home ASAP, I took the shortcut. Since it was already late, other than a few people jogging, the park was totally empty. So I took my time slowly as I was carrying a lot of things on my hand. So you know, if you got a newborn baby, right, it's not just the newborn baby, but you have the newborn baby's bag, the milk, the diapers, everything is in your hands lah. Then if you take a taxi or car, then there's the baby chair. So basically, she was carrying all these things lah. And going back to the story, yeah, so I took my time slowly as I was carrying a lot of things on my hand. Everything was fine until we walked past this tree, which looked really old, with roots hanging from the top. And just the look of it made chills run down my spine. Worst of it all, my baby started crying and wailing, and I couldn't stop her. I tried to stuff the pacifier on her mouth and continue walking, and that's when I heard footsteps on dry leaf, as if someone came out of nowhere. But the weird thing was, it wasn't like one step after the other. I only heard one footstep. Again, I told myself to ignore it and continued walking. But the feeling of being watched started to take over me. I was arguing with myself if I should turn, but curiosity took the best of me, and I turned and I regretted it instantly. Why would you turn? But what I saw was what seemed like a person wrapped in old, white, dirty cloth. And the worst part was the face decomposed and the eyes looking plain white, just staring at me, and the mouth wide open, like his jaws were broken. Something like this. So, before I could even react, I saw it move, and in that moment, I took up all my energy and sprinted with my baby in my hand. I didn't even take a second to look back. I just sprinted all the way till I reached my apartment and went up the lift. I slowly catched my breath after all that running. That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, and the smell of rot also had filled my nose. Now that I think about it, I slowly gathered my energy when the lift door opened and walked towards my apartment. But just as I turned the key, so she just reached her apartment and then she put her key inside. She wanted to turn. Just before she turned her key, the smell, it filled the air again, this rotting flesh smell. And when I turned, I realized at the end of the corridor, it was standing there with the blank expression again. I quickly opened the door and went in, slamming the door behind me. Boom! That night, what I could hear was just constant knocking on my door. And my imagination ran wild, because if it was a pocong I saw and his hands were wrapped, was it using his head to knock against my door? So the pocong doing this too. blasted verses of the Quran on my speaker, and for double protection, wore a earpiece that was playing verses, so I couldn't hear the sound. Thankfully, after that night, nothing else happened, and I promised myself to never walk alone in the park, especially with the newborn. So, as you can see in my AI video that I have posted that time, the story is of this single mom who's working, who's tired, who just wanted to get home soon. So what she did was she finally thought, why not let me just take a shortcut back home? And then when she walked past when she was walking in the park with her newborn baby, then she saw the Pocong standing behind her. I mean, would you walk alone with your newborn baby in the park? I mean, I wouldn't. But of course, it's hard to say now because when you're in that situation and you're tired, you just want to find the fastest way to go back home. But in this situation, the fastest way, she really reached home as fast as possible because she ran from the Pocong. And the Pocong actually followed her all the way home, and thankfully, it didn't come inside the house. But then it knocked its head on the door again and again. But I wonder if, let's say, those old houses where your window faces the corridor. What if you never open the window? I mean, what if you do open the window and then you see the Pocong there standing? Yeah, so that was the first story that we have from the AI video that we saw. And the second video that we had from the AI video was this lady studying for her exams, her last minute preparations for her exam lah. So if you guys have seen that video, then the story is about an old lady and old lady spirit standing at the steps. Okay, so if you guys have studied late at night, then you would know lah. Okay, so if you guys want to let's go to the next story where if you guys got any stories to share with us, go to my TikTok, DM us about the story, and then we can tell your stories, your ghost stories on live. So usually when we do live, it will be posted on other platforms as well. So TikTok will be the first one that will be broadcasted and then followed by others lah. So if you guys are here now, give this TikTok a follow, give the other platforms a follow as well. So without further ado, let's go on to the next story. Okay. My name is Nina, not my real name. But this is my first paranormal encounter that I've had and have changed my perspective on the unseen. Like many other students, I like to study at night, last minute before the exams. Because of course, why not? I was too lazy to do it any other day. So as usual, I was studying at school if it was about 10 plus PM, I'm guessing. So usually we all those kids where we want to last minute study, we enjoy, then last minute study. So Nina was that kind of person. So what she did was she studied late at night, and so I decided to wrap up after the night, after finishing my cheat sheet. That's when I suddenly heard a chuckle. And it sounded so evil, as if it was ready to play. But since it had a bit of echo, I couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. And I slowly turned from right to left, scanning the room, looking for the sound. And then something caught my eyes. It was an old lady squatting at the stairs, the platform, the stairs, rocking back and forth, peeking from the railing, looking at me, just rocking back and forth. It took me a second to realize what I've seen, and the moment I did, I screamed and closed my eyes. And when I opened them back, the old lady was gone. I threw everything inside my bag and packed up, But then I realized I have left something on top. So she was studying below and then she left something on top. So she needed to get that thing. So I went towards the other direction to take the lift. I mean, we should take the stairs again. I went up half sprinting, took my stuff, and when I pressed the lift, the button didn't turn red. So she spammed the lift button, but then the lift was not working. I tried hitting a button a few times, but still no response. And the only way down was the stairs, where she saw the old lady. So I hesitantly walked towards the stairs, and before I even took my first step, I looked down and saw the old lady again. And this time, as if she knew I was coming from the top, she squat down right below, facing me. That's when I realized the first time I saw her, I thought she was actually peeking. But actually her head was bent in a 90-degree awkward position as if she had a broken neck. So she was looking at her like this from the bottom of the steps. Would you go down the steps? I mean, I wouldn't. So I ran as fast as I could to the other staircase landing and ran down to my bag. I grabbed everything and got out of the place. The next day, I wanted to tell someone my experience, but then they would probably think I was crazy, so I didn't. Then I saw a cleaner uncle and I really felt the need to know about what I just saw, like if there's any history behind this. So I casually started a conversation and came to the topic. Honestly, if you are going to talk to the cleaner uncle, right, he probably knew something was up. Nobody goes up and talk to the cleaner uncle. So I went up to the cleaner uncle and I really needed to know if there's any history behind this. So I casually started conversation and came to the topic. The uncle casually told me, "Oh, you seen her? Usually students have never seen her, just teacher who stay back late. Or cleaners lah." So the rumours is, he whispered with a very low voice, "Last time got one story. An old auntie slipped and fell down the stairs, breaking her neck. But I don't know how true lah," the uncle said. Then it clicked to me. Is that the reason why her neck was crooked when I saw her? After that incident, believe me when I said, I never studied at night ever again. So if you guys have followed me, you will realize that in my profile there's pictures of this lah, the old lady squatting down, rocking back and forth, looking down from the steps, but her head tilted in a weird angle. I mean, if it was me, I would have just ran lah. I would have just ran for sure lah, because I mean, who would actually like, how you say, who would actually stand there when you saw the auntie and then you still can go up to take your things? Take your things tomorrow. You don't have to take them tonight. You can just take them tomorrow. But maybe it was important because it was her exams lah. So that was the story about the old lady. So again, the summary of the story is that the old lady, the person, she was studying for exams last minute. She was studying until night. I think she was studying outside. So she heard this like laughter, this chuckle. I mean, this is just an example lah. But then she heard a laughter, and then she was looking around, and then she saw that old lady walking back and forth. Then thankfully, she was smart enough to pack her bags and not go and investigate the situation. Yeah, so that was the story about my second post that I did, which is the old lady lah. Have you all ever seen an old lady spirit around your place? I've heard a lot of stories about old man spirit, but old lady spirit, not that much. Old man spirit, I think have. So that was the second post that I did. And then we can go on to our third story. So I have this Reddit story, and then maybe the Reddit story we can keep for the last, and then the third one is actually a exploring story. So people like to adventure, they want to go to different places, and abandoned places are basically, there's thrill seekers who like to explore. I was one of them, but I've stopped a long time ago lah, because a lot of the places in Singapore has been closed down, has been fenced up. There's police present, so of course you wouldn't go and explore abandoned places if you're gonna get caught, right? Yeah, so a bit of a bummer, but of course I think I'm old enough now to sit in front of the camera and tell stories instead of going and investigate. So okay, all these stories, right, it's gonna be fake names, okay? So it's not going to be real names, not going to be real locations. I don't think there's real locations in here lah, but if not going to disclose anything. So because I don't know if this spot is now closed, or is it closed from last time, if they just trespass. Yeah, so anyway, the third story we have is about a group of friends who went to explore an abandoned location. So let's start the first story. I mean the third story. So this happened 10 years ago. A group of 6 friends decided to create a group, and what was this group for is to go explore abandoned places past midnight. So thrill seekers, they don't want to name themselves and don't want to name the place, but it was in the west of Singapore. There's not many abandoned places. So being young and just getting their license, back then the one who got their license first and their family got car will be the one everyone will go to, because they don't need to wait for they don't need to catch the last bus. They can go out till late lah. So they had that one person lah where they can use their father's car, fetch all their friends, and then head out. So this is what happened at that time lah. So for example, this was probably how the convo went lah in my head. I add this in so that there's a bit more feels. So there's 6 people who went and 3 main characters lah. So let's name the driver who has the car, which is Darren. Maybe the other 2 is Sam and Glenn. Okay, so these are not real names, these are just nicknames. Okay, so let's, for example, this is the convo that probably happened lah. So they asked Darren, "Hey Darren, so where are we going today?" He said, "I know you guys plan today. I'll just be the driver lah. I already going to drive, so you all plan the location, do the planning and everything. I'll just drive you guys." Then so one of the friends said, "Actually, I know a spot that not many people go to." So this made everyone more curious. Everyone was like, "You sure or not? Later not scary how?" So this one friend said, "Trust me." So everyone okay lah. They decided to go to this location. It was sort of an off-road path before we could reach the place. And what they described it as was, it looked like chalets, a lot of them, or some living quarters of some sort. So everyone was excited. They're like, "Wow, not bad but let's see can go in or not lah," because everyone was hyped already when they saw the location. So every abandoned place in Singapore, it's fenced up, but it wasn't anything new to them because they have adventured to places prior to this. But the fence was a bit high and nobody wanted to jump as there was a plus size friend inside. So they can push him why they don't want to push him? But yeah, they had a fat friend inside there lah. Then everyone was walking around the perimeters of the place, and then they found an opening in the fence. So one by one, everyone went in while Darren parked the car who was the driver, and he was the last to enter. So we slowly shined our torchlights and went in, and every door. So since it was chalet, I'm guessing it's probably a lot of rooms and houses, so they went into every one of them lah. Then they took in the old we went in every door to take in the old rundown interior, which it felt like a time capsule of the older days. So everything was going smooth. Everyone was having fun, disturbing each other. So they walked and walked, exploring new places just to soak in the vibe. And suddenly there was a larger building that also had another fence that was there, but something about that place made everyone feel uncomfortable. And nobody wanted to step in. And that's when Glenn stepped up first. So to give you an image of the entrance, what they say is it was a fence with a gate opening. So you know, like those fields where you have like big fence and then the gate opening, which led up to a small flight of stairs to the building. So so everyone just paused. They didn't want to go inside there. But then Glenn is a bit of a hero lah. So what he did was he stepped up first. He said, "Hey, you all want to explore but scared lah? Come on lah, we're already here." But for some reason, everyone felt weird. But Glenn kept insisting to go up, and then he said, "You all want to stay here, can go ahead, but I want to explore." These are the people who will die first. So just as he was about to take the first step after opening the gate of the fence, so he opened the gate. He just got the first step, and then the second, the third step, when Sam suddenly stepped in. He said, I think we should go. It doesn't feel right." Glenn, being him, he said, "If you're scared, then you don't need to make so many excuses lah." At this point, Sam started to get annoyingly pissed. He said it's not about being scared, but you just come down first, later we talk. So that's what Sam said. So they keep going back and forth and back and forth. So finally Glenn gave in lah. He said, "Whatever lah, you all want, I don't know why you all want to go explore. Also if like that." Hero. Then he came down the steps and then they continued walking the path lah. So they went off from the building. And then as they were walking, suddenly there was a whiff of flower-like perfume smell. Something like perfumes that only females wear. But in that group, it was all just boys. And as quickly as the smell came in, the smell turned rotten. Then, and one of the friends said, "Hey, you guys can smell ah?" And just as he was about to finish his sentence, Sam shot him a glance. We all know you cannot acknowledge these type of things, right? But then there was Glenn, who sniffed and then said, "Can you all smell like something smelly, like decomposing?" The moment he said that, they heard a chuckle. Some of them thought that it sounded like mice, but everyone all of them, the hairs on their hands stood, and all of them at the same time just turned and walked back towards the entrance. And then as they were walking, they started to feel uncomfortable, and the walk started to become a sprint. And then everyone sprinted out. Then they go underneath the fence. Then everyone said, "Hey, what was that? You guys heard it too, right? And the smell." But Darren said, "Hey, I'm out of here. You all can stay here, but I cannot already." And since he was the right, so everyone just followed him, got in the car, and then they left the place. So what Darren did was, he was smart lah. He went to 7-Eleven first. They buy drinks. Then so Darren is the driver lah. So he needed to go and send every one of them back. So Darren sent one of them. So slowly he sent Sam off. He sent the others off, and then finally he's the last person to go off lah. Then so Sam just showered and got to bed when he got a call from Darren, the driver. He said so Sam picked up lah. Then he said, "Hey, Sam, I just wanted to know, remember when Glenn wanted to go up the stairs and you stopped him, right? Actually, what you saw, then Sam said, oh, I don't know, because from what I saw at the entrance of the building itself, it was like a white lady peeking from the wall, looking at them while Glenn was going up. So that means, I think there was the steps and then the building, right? So the building probably had an entrance, and then they saw the white figures peeking and then looking at them. Yeah, the arowana is behind. Later you can see more of the arowana. I never on the light, by the way. So anyway, yeah, so what he said was, oh, I don't know, from what I saw at the entrance of the building itself, it was like a white lady peeking from the wall side, and just for a split second, felt like I saw a white smile across her face before it disappeared. Was damn scary, but nobody would believe one lah. But anyway, lucky we left the place. So he asked, hey, yeah, so why you ask? Then he said, no, because I just parked my car, and then when I was walking off, I realized that I'm not sure if I locked the car. So when I went back, right, I saw this white shadow with the same smile at the car inside. So basically what happened is, after I parked the car, I walked off, and then he came back because he don't know if he locked the door, and then he saw the same white lady sitting at the back of the car, who followed him all the way from the abandoned place, smiling back home inside his car. So that's when he ended the call, and that's when the story ends. Yeah, so that was a story basically summing up about this group of friends who went to explore, 18 years old, 19 years old, just got their license. They took their father's car, go to an abandoned location in the west side. So a group of friends, they explore, but of course, when you go to these type of locations, there are places that are not clean. Yeah, so when the places are not clean and then you go in, when you're young, some of them, you're not very into prayers, or you're not very religious, so you just go, you are more of the exploring happy mindset with all your friends, and you want to act macho because all of them are our guys lah. So then they experience flower smell becoming rotten, and then the white shadow that actually other guys saw, but it followed him all the way back home. Anyway, hello Auntie Meow. Hi. Yeah, sorry, I was telling the story and then I got distracted by your comment because you were distracted by my arowana at the back. Yeah, so if you see the arowana in the back, I forgot to on the light. Usually I on the light lah, but then because today I was rushing to do my live because it was already very late, and I do my live because usually when I do this live, I also post it on other platforms. So usually TikTok will be the first to see it, then other platforms as well lah. Then usually I say about 3-4 stories, and then I will dip lah. No, there he's behind me. You can see him. He's a small guy lah. He's just a few months old. Yeah, so I anyway, if your name is Auntie Mel, I'm guessing you also like cats, and I have 2 of them. I have 2 cats, 2 fish, 2 lovebirds, but lovebirds is in my parents' house now because I cannot tahan anymore lah. But yeah, I have 2 cats, 2 fish. I don't know why everything comes in pairs lah in my house. Yeah, so anyway, if you all are watching this live now, I tell ghost stories. Thanks for the story. Hope your cats don't tell ghost stories. I tell you, my cats, you hear stories about cats like defending you, or that they're making the sound when they see spirits, right? I tell you honestly, right, my cats don't care at all. They just do their own thing. They just sit down. Doesn't matter Yeah, they no, my cats are they just sit down and then they mind their own business. Even if I felt things in my house or anywhere lah, in a matter of fact lah, they just ignore. So in my head, I always think, am I imagining things or is it really happening? Yeah, so I don't know lah. They say animals can sense these kind of things, but my cats just don't care. One cat is super scared, and then another cat is super brave and will go explore anything. So I don't know. Does your cats do they sense things? Yeah. So anyway, going back to our stories, I had if you follow my page or you go to my page, you can see that there was two new posts. One was about the school student who was studying and then she saw the old lady. Then the second story was about a lady with a newborn baby and then walking through a park when she saw a creature lah. Yeah, so then the third story now was adventure in abandoned place, but there's no videos or pictures that I put up for this because this one is adventure lah. Didn't really see much things. Hey, thanks for following. Do you like ghost stories? Do you have ghost stories of your own? That's the most interesting thing I want to know, because at this moment of time, I'm collecting as much ghost stories as I can because if no ghost stories, there's no life. Yeah, so of course, if you got any ghost stories, I would love to hear your ghost stories, and then just DM me lah. DM me your ghost stories, and I can bring it to life, like AI version of it, and then I will tell these stories on TikTok Live, and then I will bring it to other platforms. I don't know if I can say the other platforms or will I get banned or anything, but yeah, other platforms as well. Then YT lah, YT. If you know, I'll be there. But then I have no subscribers there. I have only one video there. I don't post a lot, so I mainly do only live lah. Yeah, so live is my way of practicing my storytelling skills. Yeah, so if you have any ghost stories, of course, I would love to hear your ghost stories, and just DM me. Anybody, if you see this video, you want to join in, tell me your ghost stories, and I would love to hear them. Okay, so for the last story of this night, it's just a very, very short story, and it's a Reddit story actually. So honestly, I just took this story, copied and pasted because it was so interesting, the story, and then not interesting, but then it was like a story that you don't usually hear. So when I heard this story, right, I was quite shocked. But before that, I have to take a sip of water because I'm super thirsty from telling all the stories lah. So give me a while and I'll be back in a while. Okay, and then we are back. So for the last Reddit stories that we have. Oh, let me go and find back the story. Sorry. Okay, yes, we got it. Okay, so for the last story we have from Reddit, I'm so sorry that I don't know who you are because this story was a long time ago that I saw lah. But yeah, I hope if you see this story, you will appreciate me sharing this story as well. So let's start this story. It's a very short story lah, so you all can bear with me. So this story occurred in the Philippines a few years ago and was related to me by my wife. So the story's title was A Mother's Love. So this is a true story lah. I've always prided myself on not easily believing myth and legends and stories. I'm the type that put faith in science and look for logical explanation. But this story my wife told me is a little strange and downright eerie. To begin with my sister-in-law, my sister-in-law can't have children of her own, so she decided to adopt. They live in a third world country where poverty is rife, and through a friend, she found a young woman that was pregnant and couldn't afford to keep the child. An adoption was arranged. Basically, pay for the mother's medical bills and perhaps a little something to help the family. It was a difficult decision on the mother's behalf, but she had no other alternative. At least her child would be going to a loving home to a relatively rich woman, rich by third world standards anyway. By all accounts, the mother and her mother was extremely upset at the prospect of giving up the child. After all, who wouldn't? So he short formed it to sister-in-law to Sil, so I'll just call it Sil. My Sil decided that it was best to have minimal contact with the family leading up to the birth in order to make it as easy as possible. The baby was born, papers were signed, and money exchanged. Sil headed home to her town with her bundle of joy, a bouncing baby boy. 2 years passed with no contact from the family, and now this little boy is walking and talking and developing a personality. One morning he was playing and looked up and said, "Mama, I had a dream last night." So Sil said, "Oh really? Was it a good dream?" The son replied, "It was, but the lady was sad." "Lady?" The son said, "Yes, the beautiful lady with long hair. She called me Anak, and she told me she was my mama. She told me she was happy to see I had you to look after me, but was sad because she had to go away." Sil was taken back, but it was a mere dream. As far as the child was concerned, Sil was her mama, so the sister-in-law was the mother. Adoption has never been spoken of. There was no reason to. He was her son. After this strange conversation with her son, she decided to reach out to the birth mother. She spoke to a mutual acquaintance who in turn gave a contact number for the birth mother's mother. Sil called and apologized for contacting out of the blue, so it's been 2 years since they contacted her, but felt compelled to reach out and see how the birth mother was doing. What happened next truly shocked her. The birth mother's mother told her that unfortunately her daughter had suffered an illness and passed away the other night. Like I said, I'm not the type to believe in this sort of stuff, but I do believe the child had a dream and described a woman who he had never met or knew existed. The other thing is the kid didn't know, but when he was born, the mother called him Anak, which means child. She decided not to name him as she couldn't bear to, as it was too hurtful. Do I believe she reached out beyond the grave to say goodbye to her son she barely knew? I don't know, but it sure is an eerie story. My hair started standing as I told the story. Yeah, so I saw this on Reddit, and then when I read this story myself, the hairs on my hands stood. So, you know, in the third world country where they have children but then they can't support their children, so they give away their children in exchange for some cash. Not the best thing to do, but then, you know, like your child would have a better life if they were somewhere else. And it's very sad to hear the story where after 2 years, the biological mother basically passed away, and then came to her son's dream, and then told him that she was happy to see him, but she was sad because she had to go away. these kind of stories is the kind that it's not really horror, but then it's still the paranormal, and it really digs into your heart because it's mother's love, like my first story lah, basically. So anyway, that was the stories that we had today. The first story being about my first AI video, which is the baby, the lady with the baby. Then the second one, which was the student. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, please go to my TikTok page, view the video. Took a lot of effort to do that video. So in this live, or this, if you go to YT, the full, if you are on my TikTok live, then you hear the full story. Usually that one, the videos I have on there is a summary. It's not the full video. But of course, if you go to my YT, or if you watch this TikTok live, then you get the full story of what it's about lah. So from here on out, if you guys got any stories, of course, again, don't forget to DM me on TikTok. I would love to hear stories. Bring your stories to light, because at a Dark Tale, we bring your stories to light. That's all we do. And if you guys love horror just like me, you love horror stories, you love listening to horror stories at night, then I hope you give me a follow, and you like this page, you watch my live, you watch my videos. It really helps me a lot. Hope you guys can share this video. If you really like horror content, share this video. Send me a DM telling me your ghost stories, because I would love to hear your ghost story from you. And I hope to see you guys all again next week. And stay safe. This is a Dark Tale where we bring your stories to light. Good night, everybody.